Hello and welcome to Quassi's Bell Tower with your host, Quassi. And today we're going to learn how to make a Drow Spider Throne. And here it is, so let's get to it. Okay, so for the Drow Spider Throne, I've already drawn out all the dimensions. We will definitely go over that. First, these little spiders, you're going to need these. That'll be part of the throne. I got these at Spirit of Halloween a few years ago. I'm sure they're probably going to still sell them. So I'm sure you should, hopefully you should be able to find them. And then these little jewelry gem things, I think I got them at Hobby Lobby, or it might have been, I think they might have been Micheal's now that I think about it. And they were a few bucks. And then you're going to need the dollar store skeletons, which is 10 in a pack for $1, because we're going to need the skulls from it. The other things you guys are going to need is your hot glue gun, your paints, of course. You more likely are going to need the Proxxon thermal cutter to cut this, because you got to cut some thin pieces. So I'm sorry for the guys that don't have the thermal cutter. You can cut it with a knife if you want. It's just going to be a little more difficult. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to work on the seat for the throne. I already set it at 5/8 because that is going to be the width of the seat. So I'm going to put this on a level 4, and that should be good enough to rip through this. Okay, now that I got that top done, I mark it with a T on there just gently so I know it's the top. Now we're going to turn it to its side. I set this already at 3/8 because that is going to be the height of this. So we're going to go ahead and rip this through once I turn it on. So now we got our height for it. And now we got to do the depth, or how far the seat's going to sit back. And that is going to sit back at 1 3/8. So I'll set that up and then we'll rip that right through. This is all set at 1 3/8. So we'll go ahead and rip that through now. Or you can just cut it if you want to. You don't have to use the Proxxon to do that part. Okay, so now we're going to do the armrests of the chair. We will need 2 of these. So first we're going to go ahead and run this through at 5/8. I'm using a scrap piece that's over, like, it's about 4 inches long. You're going to at least need 2.5 inches block piece. But we will go and rip this at 5/8 now. Okay, I set this up at 1.5 inches because that's going to be the length of the armrests. So I am going to turn this on and rip it through at 1.25 inches. What we're going to do now is I'm going to take where that S is, and I'm going to put it on its side here like this, so the S is showing here. I have this set up at 1/4 inch because the armrests are going to be 1/4 inch thick. This piece is actually 3/4, so I'll actually get like 3 pieces out of it. But I only need the 2. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a measurement on the top of this, or one of these pieces, on both of them actually. And I probably could have done that before I cut this in half, but that's my bad. So I'm just going to measure this out from here to here at 3/4 of an inch and put a small little mark, and then just take my ruler and just go like this and then make a line and then just cut it out with the X-Acto knife. Okay, so I got my 2 armrests done, and if you see, I've already drawn my line. That was at 3/4, and that's still at 1 1/4 inches. So you're just going to cut this piece off and cut this piece off, and that'll be it. Now we are going to work on part of the backrest. This is going to be, there's going to be 2 posts. There's going to be one on the left, one on the right, and then you'll have the backrest. So this is what we're doing. We're going to cut this at 1/4 inch. I'm using one of my scrap pieces, and I'm just going to run this through at 1/4 inch. I know the top is because this is blue, but if you need to, you can mark it. And then we're going to set it at 3/16, and we will cut it this way. Okay guys, I realized that the 3/16 I wanted to do was probably just a little too thin. I could go less than 1/4, which isn't really much. So I think we're just going to rip this through at 1/4 by 1/4. Okay, now that I have this set 1/4 by 1/4, I measured these out. They have to be 1.5 inches long. So I measured them out, and then we're just going to cut these and then move on to the last piece. And then after that, we can glue it all together and then work on all the fun stuff with the spiders and skulls. Okay, so I have this set up at 5/8 because that is going to be the width of the back. So let's go ahead and get this ripped. And then I am going to set this up at 3/16 for the back. Not 1/4, but 3/16, because I want the back to be a little bit thinner than the poles themselves. Okay, we're all set up at 3/16. So we know that this is, if I'm correct, 5/8. So we know that's 5/8. So we're going to go here and rip this at 3/16. And the height of this back is going to be 1.25 inches. Okay, so now we're just going to go ahead and assemble this. So I'm taking the one part that we cut first. I'm going to run a bead of glue on there. Very small. I don't want to put too much because then it kind of keeps it from sealing tight. And you'll sometimes have a little gap in there if you put too much glue. So you got that one done. That one done. Hold those in place, let them dry. Okay, those are good. Now we'll do the next piece. Small little bead. Put this piece on there just like that. Make sure it's flush right there, just like that. do the other side. And that's it. And then you'll take this piece here. Make sure that the flesh side is facing that way, because you are going to have a little bit extra piece here and a little extra, lip there, because that's a little thicker than that. But you want that in the back. Or you can have it in the front if you want. It's your choice. I'm going to put mine in the back. Or maybe I won't. I don't know. That looks pretty good just the way it is. Yeah, I think that's how I'll do it. So I'll run a bead. Make sure that's flush in the back and lined up. Which now I'm a little off, but yeah, once I put it all together, you won't be able to tell. I see where I made a little bit of a mistake here. I guess for some reason it's not 100% even when I cut it. I can easily sand that down, or I can just leave it there and say, what the heck. But I probably sand it down. So if you want, for now, you can go ahead and paint this black and just put it off to the side for right now. Now I have opened up my package of Dollar General. Dollar General is where I got these from. Skulls, or skeletons. And what I'll do is I'll go through, and I like to clean up a lot of these little edges here, the mold lines on it, so they look a little bit better. Be careful when doing this, because you can cut yourself, especially when you're using a sharp blade. So kids, please get your parents' permission or have them do it for you. So I'm going to go ahead and edge them all out, and then when I'm done doing that, I will go and pop their heads off, which is probably like the funnest part of the whole thing, is popping their heads off. So go ahead, go do that, and then we'll be right back. Okay, now that I have all my little skull heads popped off and cut off, this is the difficult part. So please, children, make sure your parents are doing this, because I'm not going to get in trouble I don't want to get in trouble if you guys cut your finger. I cut some of these before, and it's kind of really scary. So there might be a better way of doing it, but this is the way I did it. Basically, take right where the mold line to this skull is, and I just put my blade in there, and I just push down on it and cut it right down it. Of course, I'm using a clipboard so I don't screw up my desk. But then there you go, half a head now. Perfect for what we need. We need to do 10 of these. So go ahead and do that, and whatever you do, guys, please be careful. I don't want anybody to get cut on this project, and I am like prone to I'm always getting cut. So please be careful doing this. Okay, so I got my little spiders here. I'm going to use this one here with the round, I don't know, whatever kind of headpiece it is. I'm going to use that for the back, and I'm going to use this for the seat for the spider. I'm also going to paint them, because a blue spider is kind of silly, and this one's pretty good already, but I really don't like the black spots. So I'm going to go ahead and paint them colors I want, maybe give them some highlights, try to get some of the hair to highlight some of the hair on there, and do that. Now with these spiders here, I don't know how well paint is going to hold to them. So I already took one of them and I kind of sanded it down with some light 220 sandpaper. Hopefully the paint will stick to it. And then I'll clip the little circles off, the little loops off with a pair of snips, and get rid of those. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we can move on to the next part. Okay, now I have everything painted and ready for assembly. So here we go. We'll take the chair. We'll take this spider here. We'll put him right here. And all we're going to do is take some glue. Yeah, I didn't paint the bottom of it. Put it on there. Just stick him on there. Nice and neat. Now if you get some of these wisps in here, or the long strings of glue, you can keep them on there if you want. Kind of would give it a little neat look for spider webs. So if you want to do that, go ahead, try that out. Okay, next we'll test this piece here. Yeah, and that'll fit good just like that. And we'll push that right against in there. We'll glue some glue on here. Put that in there and press that against that nice and neat. I'll move his little spider arms like that. Okay. And then I will tack a bunch of skulls along here, so we'll go ahead and do that. Oops. So this will look pretty cool when we're all done with it. So I will tack two of them here, 2 of them here, 2 in the middle here, 1 more there. I'll put the spiders here on the side, and that'll take care of the spiders. There'll be 2 on each side, and then we'll be all done with it. And then I'll be right back to show you what on display. So that's it for the Drow Spider Throne. I hope you guys liked it. So please comment, subscribe, and like always, ring that like button like a hunchback. Until next time.